Hello.
Hi.
And welcome to Homegrown Daisy, the podcast where I take a nose into the jewellery box of a few of my favourite people. And I'm joined by one of them today, Mrs. Polly Sayre.
Mrs. I don't get called Mrs. very much.
I was actually thinking, is Sayre your married name?
It is my married
Yeah.
name. But yeah, being called Mrs. makes me feel like a real
Really
grown-up.
old.
And I
Yeah.
feel like a fraud, but
What's your name before Sayre?
Bartlett. So some
Fancy.
people remember that, but I actually really like the name Sayre. I know it's
I
not
do.
very modern to take your husband's name these days, but I don't know, I think it works for me. So.
Here we are. We've got Mrs. Polly Sayre. It does sound very
Very
official. You've just got back from Copenhagen.
I have, yeah. It was really, really fun. My
Was
first time at Copenhagen Fashion Week. And it was just really jolly. Very cold, but
You had some good coats though.
some really good coats, very essential. I was like, how am I going to dress in a fashion way, but also be warm? I didn't always manage it. A couple of times I just had to be I'm just going to freeze my tits off. I actually did wear an outfit for Wednesday where it was a bomber jacket and trousers, but then they dressed me in this mesh top underneath.
Wow.
And I was like, I think I'm just going to go full fashion girly and not wear a bra and then just do the nip.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Wait,
mean?
it's not nip that could come through the mesh.
Yeah, it is. But actually, I did wear nipple covers. But then I did just do a pic like that where you could just see
Nice.
it. And I was just like, if you can't do that at Fashion Week, then when the hell can you?
and you can on Instagram now, can't you?
Well, I don't know. I uploaded the pictures now and I was like, I hope no one reports me.
No, because I
for my
think
nip
that, isn't
pic.
there this whole thing free
Yeah.
nip, actually.
Yeah, and
Instagram's-
about bloody time.
Yeah.
Because, it's just a nipple at the end of the day,
It
isn't
is just a nipple. But we're not here to talk about nipples, actually. We're here
What a shame. What a shame.
here to talk about jewellery. So, Polly, you have brought in your 5
I have,
most significant
yes.
pieces. Did you find it hard to narrow it down to 5?
I did, but I feel like I have, I'm quite sure of what my firm faves are. So I kind of started with those and then was like, okay, let's go from there and
Nice.
a couple more in. So I'm excited to talk about them.
Good. And at the end of this episode, listeners can get 20% off an edit that you're going to curate
Yeah.
of your favourite Daisy pieces. So we'll
Exciting.
reveal the discount at the end.
Are you going to decide what it is or shall I?
No, you're going to decide what it is.
I actually think I have an idea of what it could be.
Really?
Can it be Polly was ear?
You can't say it now because now they might not listen to the
Oh,
episode.
damn it. Okay, it's not going to be Polly was ear. It's probably also not that professional to make it Polly was ear.
I like it.
It's retro.
Okay.
Okay, we'll reveal it at the end. Sorry. I was just like, what can it be? That sounds kind of fun. I remember writing that on
Yeah.
graffiti when you were
It's
younger.
so true, yeah.
Retro.
Yeah.
No, rock on.
Okay. Now, you've been a fan of Daisy for a while.
I
haven't you?
have, yes.
One of your first Daisy pieces you've brought with you.
Yes, I have.
But I was going back through the archive of Polly Sayre's Instagram.
Yeah.
I think one of the other first pieces you had was the Goddess T-bar necklace from the
Oh my
Estee
God,
collection.
yes.
You had a big moment wearing that.
I really loved that one. I
I
still love a T-bar.
Yes, I love that necklace. It was the one that had the T-bar fastening and it had the big disc.
Yeah.
So it was a bit like the classic Tiffany.
Yeah.
And a T-bar bracelet, but it was a necklace version.
Yes, I do, and I still have that. I need to dig it out again, actually. When you're like, I remember I had
Yeah,
that.
give it a
That's
moment again.
Yeah, I also feel like you guys gave me these little T-bar earrings as well, which I also adored. But I feel like this was one of the first, and it, as you said, it's still in quite good nick, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a signet with those flowers on it, and I remember just being really buzzed to get that, because I love the brand, I love the ring itself. I was just like, it's so cool to be able to be given this stuff, and I don't know, I still love this ring. I've really looked after it because it's so beautiful, and yeah, I just love it. I love all the pieces I have.
You look after your jewellery well.
I know. I mean, lots of people are like, how do you keep your jewellery so nice? I'm just like, you have to just be a grown up and not washing them. That's just the way it is. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, but my jewellery tarnishes when I go swimming or get in the shower. I'm like, babes, you need to take that off.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
I am terrible at practicing what we preach.
Really?
Well, I always take my rings off.
Yeah.
But bracelets I don't take on and off. I leave them on. So I've had these on and they've definitely faded, but I have had these on for about 6 months.
Okay, I get the bracelet thing because it is just quite a lot of admin putting on bracelets, with one hand.
Yeah.
My husband always says to me, it's you women have it so hard with your bracelets. Imagine if you're a single woman, because I have to get Matt to help me put them on because I'm so cat-handed.
That's so thoughtful of him to
I know, you know, he really relates, you know, and understands the female experience. I like, don't let him hear the end of it. I don't know. Is there like a knack to putting on like clippy
There is
bracelets?
actually, and you can find it on our TikTok channel.
Oh God, sorry, I should maybe have checked.
There's a knack to that. No,
I'll check that out after. What is it?
I think Katie did one, and it's where like you have a bobby pin, which I know is the American way of saying like curvy grip.
Yeah.
So I think you kind of put the bobby pin through one of the loops, hold the pin there, the lobster's here, and then you can go clip.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That might change my life.
See you later, Matt.
See you
Just
later,
pass
Matt.
me the bobby pin.
That's the only reason I'm with him, so you can get dumped now.
Fine. Well, we're going to go into your significant pieces shortly. So I've been a fangirl of Polly for a while.
Yeah.
Before we met, and we officially met last summer face to face, didn't we, at Luca?
Yeah. Oh my God, that was such a good meal, wasn't it?
It was basically the best food we'd ever had, with the parmesan fries.
That was my lasting memory, was those parmesan fries. I think I could have just eaten those for the whole evening.
Yeah.
But that actually was one of the best meals I've had in the last like 2 years. It was such good food.
I know, I think about it often. And it was such a lovely evening. The summer. So if anyone hasn't been to Luca, I highly recommend it. It's in Farringdon, and not being sponsored to say this.
I wish.
And then we were outside, and then as the sun went in, it got dark. Then they lit the outside fire, and it felt like we were on holiday. We were just sat around drinking rosé.
It was so nice.
It was so
it?
nice.
It was really good vibes, and yeah, I feel like I was really like lucky to be sat next to you, and I think we had a really like nice time.
We did.
A good chat, you know, and you like just get on well with someone. Great.
When you know, you know.
When you know, babes, and you're an excellent person to sit next to at a dinner.
Thanks.
Or indeed a podcast.
Ditto. Okay, so let's talk about your Get Ready With Me videos, because they are massive.
Yeah, I guess so.
You're so good at them.
Thanks. Really good at getting dressed.
How did they come about?
Oh, I think they're just kind of like, you know, people are doing more of those. I can't claim to be original. But, you know, some people find them weird, and like you do get comments, people are like, I don't need to be shown how to get dressed. But I think actually some people do like to have the breakdown. And I don't know, I think it's just a kind of fun way to show how you like think about building outfits in the morning, and it's simple, it's savable, and I don't know, and they're quite easy to film and edit, so for me it's a win.
Do you find that's that kind of like the Get Ready With Me style content? Did you, as a content creator, did you feel like you kind of tested a few different types, or is it really just like, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm wearing, if you find it interesting, great?
Yeah, I feel like I've definitely tested different formats over the years, and you just have to kind of go with what is like working right now. And like, you know, there was a time where like just photos of your outfits was a thing, like in street style, and then, you know, mirror selfies had a real moment, didn't they? And did a bit more of those. And I think you just have to be kind of adaptable when you're in like the social media world, and that's what's working right now, and I enjoy it, and I'm sure, you know, things will change. Like I read something the other day that apparently Instagram's changing to prioritise photos again, so you just you really can't rest on your laurels too much. It is, I know, you can't bloody keep up. You know, doing TikTok as well now, that's like a whole other beast, but I'm enjoying that too, you know.
I think I remember when we were having dinner last year, I was like, I really enjoyed your how to do a Scandi hair clip, the tutorial. Because honestly, and it is that kind of informative, shareable, savable content.
Yeah, I think you can't think about it too much as a creator. Like sometimes you're like, oh, but people like already know that. But then, I don't know, some people don't, so just try it out.
Do you feel any kind of not form of pressure, do you feel pressured in the kind of content you're creating? Or are you quite able to kind of step back and go, this is what I want to create?
Yeah, I think a bit of both. I try not to like feel too much pressure around it, because at the end of the day, like, you're your own boss, and that's the beauty of it. So but yeah, to a degree, because I suppose you're like driven by what is like performing, so an element of that, but I try to be quite pragmatic and just you know, realize that it is just Instagram at the end of the day. So
well, I think the compliments incoming, by the way, to Get Ready. I think the way you've got a really nice balance on your feed of your obviously you know what you're doing with it when it comes to fashion, and we can talk about what you were doing before you were doing this, because I know that you studied fashion, didn't you?
I didn't actually.
Oh,
no.
I thought you did.
No. So I actually studied music at university.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah.
Because we were bonding over that.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
yes.
I did classical music, and I played the flute and the saxophone.
But you weren't expecting that, were you?
Yeah, curveball, isn't it? So I mean, I was never very, very good, but I did it at uni because I was like, well, I don't know what else I'm good at. And I've always loved fashion, but I didn't know if I was good enough to do it. It was just kind of like a hobby. And then in my final year at uni, I got a little job working at a music magazine, and then sort of decided I wanted to do journalism, if that was kind of the angle I wanted to go towards. And then got back to my hometown and did some interning in London, a few magazines, did some kind of features work, but then also did some fashion interning, and kind of realised I really liked that. And as I said, I always loved the fashion element, and that's kind of how I fell into it. And when I wanted to get these internships, my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, was like, why don't you start a blog, shows you've got some interest and you can write and things like that, and you can show that to potential employers, internships, and they might give you something. I was like, okay, cool. So we'd go out and take our photos on the weekend and stuff, and that's kind of how the Instagram side grew alongside. And then did get jobs in the journalism world, in fashion, and then sort of in lockdown, really, the Instagram stuff got to a point where it was just sort of well, I don't know, it grew a lot in lockdown. I think a lot of people had the same thing. Yeah. And then it got to a point where I was kind of well, something's got to give here. I don't think I'm not doing anything well at this point. I'm just doing too many things. And then, gradually managed to reduce my hours. At Sheerluxe, where I work, I still do work there, but just 1 day a week now.
Really? It's now 1 day a week?
1 day a week. But it's great.
How often are you doing the podcast there?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. Maybe once or twice a month.
Nice.
Yeah, I really like it. Yeah. And it's my role now is more sort of fashion broadcasting. So, and then have the time to do the Instagram stuff on the side. So yeah, it's nice.
Amazing.
That's the journey. A bit of a wiggly road, but got there in the end.
Not only do you have the kind of your fashion knowledge and all of the content that you're putting out there, you show who you are. The kind of just silliness of today I'm not putting any makeup on, or today I'm really hungover, so I'm eating mac and cheese, which I instantly went down and bought some mac and cheese.
Did you like that, by the way?
I messaged you, didn't I?
Yeah, you were like, this bangs.
#influenced. Mac and cheese and a hangover. Yes, it's great.
So good.
And I think that's why you're so likeable, is the fact that you are sharing really savable, informative content.
Yeah, I think there are definitely people out there who's have these beautiful curated feeds, and I just don't think I'm ever going to be that person. I feel I know what I'm talking about when it comes to clothes and stuff. I feel it's important to just lean into what your strengths are, and for me, I think it's that I have this knowledge, but I also don't take myself too seriously. Yeah, and I think people kind of feel that's a bit more it's relatable in my case, I guess. So I enjoy that element. I don't think I could be too serious.
That's what we say at Daisy as well. It's we all love what we do, but we don't take ourselves too seriously. It's we have some fun. Yeah. And we all love jewellery. Yeah, just bloody love jewellery. Yeah. And we like a nice time. Do you start with the jewellery? Do you start with the clothes? I think I start with the clothes. Yeah. But I never feel an outfit is complete without the jewellery, if that makes sense. So if I'm not wearing any jewellery, I feel naked. But I feel if I was naked with jewellery on, I'd be nah, there's something going on here. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I'd rather have the jewellery on. I've always got something. I know I say I always take my jewellery off, but I keep all my earrings in. You can't see them obviously because I've got my headphones in. But I've got 6 piercings in my ears, and if I'm not wearing a pair of hoops every day, I'm oh my god, I need to go home and put them back on. Really? Yeah. I don't know. Do you feel the same? Yes. Yeah. So necklaces for me, if I'm not wearing necklaces, I feel totally weird. I don't think there's a single outfit I can think of where I wouldn't wear. Maybe slightly more pared back sometimes, layering up in others. But I'm kind of more is more, as you can tell. Yeah. I just love it. Why do you think jewellery is so important to people? I think because it's quite expressive and sentimental. So I feel with clothes, maybe it's more on the expressive side. I mean, maybe we don't kind of hold as much sentimental value with clothes. That's not to say clothes aren't, super important to most people, but I think with jewellery, because there's that sentimental element, that's why it's so important to people. And
you know, a lot of the time with like gifts and things like that, that's like the first thing that you think of for someone, isn't it? And that's usually my go-to. Like, it was my friend's birthday in December, and I was like, I bought her a daisy necklace actually.
Did you?
Yeah. And yeah, because I was just like, I want to get her something special that she can like, and she's traveling at the moment, so I wanted to get her something that it wasn't going to take up too much space in her suitcase, but she could wear every day and feel special. And she's like, this is so nice, because I don't really wear like posh clothes at the moment, but I can wear this necklace and feel really nice. Yeah. So that's why I love it.
And that's we talk about that a lot. Like, you can literally be wearing anything, and putting on a piece of jewellery can just make you feel a bit more elevated, and just like, and especially when it's been gifted to you, it's so significant. Totally. And like a marker of a moment. Yeah,
exactly. I think, like, going back to what you said about elevating your outfits, like, you know, I remember when, not to dwell on lockdown too much, but, you know, the big question was like, how can I feel a bit more polished for like my Zoom calls, for example? And like, my answer was just always like a chunky necklace, a pair of earrings, because, you know, you can be wearing your tracksuit or whatever, and that feels a bit like slovenly. But chuck a necklace on, and it suddenly feels a bit more like, oh, you've made an effort, and that was like a choice to wear this like matching tracksuit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Matching tracksuits really had a moment. You actually did what was that brand?
Life of Ease.
Yes. Yeah. Loved it. The pink and red set.
Yeah.
So nice. Yeah, with a big chunky gold chain over the top and some gold hoops.
Yeah, it's my fave.
So good.
I actually still live in tracksuits for my sins. That's one of my favourite off-duty things.
Yeah. Well, we're going to dive into your significant pieces now. And we've kind of touched on one of them.
Yeah.
Where, should we start on another one, and we'll come back to him, because I think you've got some more to say about that lovely signet ring from Daisy.
Yeah, okay, we'll do that. Maybe these earrings.
Yeah.
Let's get them out.
So Polly is the only person that's been on this podcast to bring not only one piece of Daisy, 2 pieces of Daisy in your significant pieces.
Do I get some brownie points for
Absolutely.
That? So these are probably my favourite pair of like hoops generally. I think just like every single day I wear them. They're just, for me, they're like the perfect diameter.
The Estee collaboration Goddess Glow hoops. And they've got little like stamps with little flowers in the stamps.
They're just so great. And they're quite light, so they're good for everyday wear, but I feel like they work for daytime, but they're big enough that then they work for nighttime as well. One of them is like slightly bent here because fairly recently my friend got like stuck in a pair of boots. So like the zipper, like the toggle bit came off, right? And for whatever reason, when you've not got a toggle on a zip, it's really hard to then pull the zip down. She was like, fuck, I'm like stuck in these boots. And we were trying to think of ways that we could get her out of them, but she was getting really like claustrophobic. And I was like, wait. So I pulled an earring out, I got this, and I threaded it through that bit.
Yeah.
And I managed to pull her out of her boots.
Daisy saved the day.
Yeah, literally, Daisy saved the day. And she was like, oh my God, your earring's okay. And I was like, yeah, they are actually. So these earrings
are durable and effective.
Durable, and they've saved lives. So that is why they're my favourites.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
They are just like the best.
You got them relatively recently, actually, didn't you?
Yeah, relatively
recently,
year, but I feel like I've worn them almost every day since. You know, when like it arrives and you just feel like this is the one, this is it.
They're a bit of you.
Yeah, a bit of me.
So they're one of your significant pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so nice.
I just feel like I'm going to keep them forever and ever.
Okay, where do you want to go next?
We go to maybe my engagement ring.
Yeah.
Okay, we all like an engagement story, don't we? So my ring, for people listening, is a kind of pear-cut diamond with a halo and a gold band. And I feel like when you've been with someone for a while, right, you kind of talk about like what kind of ring would you like? And fortunately, my now husband did take some instruction and was like, okay, just send me pictures of what you like. And I think he did go away and just like, he got it designed with a guy in Hatton Garden who had made his brother's wife's ring, and like, you know, a few of his friends and stuff. And this dude is honestly just got so much swag about him. You know, like you come in and he's just like, I don't know, one of those people that makes you feel really special. He's like, oh, darling, I love your earrings. And I'm like, oh God, like, what?
Thanks, Daisy.
Yeah, actually Daisy. But yeah, he proposed, when was it? So we've been married 4 years, so it would have been like 5 years ago at Christmas time. And he like, it was around our like being together anniversary. So I woke up on a Friday and he was like, I got in the shower, thought I was going to work, and then I got out of the shower and he was just there in bed, like looking smug with a cup of coffee, and he was like, do you want to know something? You're not going to work today. And I was like, well, I am actually, because like, I've got to shoot, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, I've booked it off for your boss. Like, we're going to Soho Farmhouse for our anniversary. And I was like, I literally could not believe it at the time. I was just like, no, surely not. And it's like, honestly, the best feeling to me when you think you're going to work and then someone tells you you don't have to go.
It's like a snow day at school.
Yeah, it literally is like a free day off. And I was just like, this is mega. So I just thought he was like surprised me taking away for our anniversary, because he is quite good at surprises. So it didn't feel like hugely out of the ordinary.
Nice.
And we got there, and I'd always said to him, like, I hope that when I get engaged, I've got my nails done, because you obviously want the pic. And he'd like book me in for a manicure, but obviously I didn't realise I was like getting engaged, so I was like, I think I'm gonna go for an electric blue nail, which looking back maybe wasn't like the wisest choice, but you know what, I look kind of cool with the gold. So yeah, booked me in for a mani and like a facial, and I was like, do you know what, like if he did propose, I'd probably say yes. He's really smashed it out of the park. Yeah, and then we went back to our cabin, and like if you've ever been to Farmhouse before, you know, you can kind of order those cocktail trucks to come to your room, and he was like, oh, should I do that? And I was like, yeah, sounds good. Like, was like doing my hair, and he's like, right, you need to come outside now. And I was like, oh, I'm not finished. He's like, no, you have to come now. I was like, for God's sake, like, give me a minute. Anyway, come outside, and the cocktail truck's there, and they're like, would you like to see a menu? And I was like, yeah, sure. So he hands me the menu, and obviously the menu is like something that Matt has like created, and it was like really soppy. It was like a recipe for happiness or something, and he was like, read it out then. And it was like, step 1, meet the girl of your dreams. Step 2, like fall in love, blah 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 blah. And then step 3 was like ... and then he got down and
oh my god,
yeah,
that's
it was
so
really
good.
cute. He really smashed it, bless him. Like, I just don't know how he orchestrated all of it and thought of it all. I know, he's super thoughtful. Even if he's not that tidy, I mean, he's very, very thoughtful, and I love him very much. But yeah, and I think he opened the box, and I possibly snatched the ring off him before I said yes. So I was just like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I never thought I was a diamonds girly before, but when you get a diamond, it's like pretty special, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, I absolutely love it. And I feel like my taste sort of evolves and changes quite a lot, but I still love this ring, which I think says a lot about you know, what a good job he did. And it's
what a nice story. What a great proposal.
Yeah, he did quite a good job, I think.
Smashed it out of the park with that one. How do we follow on from that?
I know, I feel like all the other stories are not going to be as good as that, but
my cheeks are hurting from smiling.
I know, it's
so
really
nice.
It's like we all love, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about something a bit like sillier but more fun. So this bracelet was made for me by my best friend.
Nice.
And it says Brides Babes on it because this is what she made for me when she asked me to be her bridesmaid. And I love how like sort of silly it is. Yeah. I just love that she made it.
Yeah.
And it feels like going back to your childhood when you would literally make a friendship bracelet for your bestie. And I just think it's so nice, and I think as much as it's like probably cost her like 10p to make, I like adore it. It's so cool. So it's like a purple rope bracelet, and it's got these like multicolored beads on it that says Brides Babes.
And you can imagine that when she was making it, she was probably just like slightly cracking up, knowing that you were just gonna love it.
Yeah.
And also knowing what it represents as well, like knowing that, oh, but she's gonna love this.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't know, we're quite different, like our personalities, and like, so obviously I'm a bit like, I'm obsessed with clothes, and like I probably spend too much money on clothes, whereas like she probably doesn't spend more than like 50 quid on an item of anything. So but I love that we are so different, but yet still like are so like intrinsically linked, and my best mate.
Your next piece.
Okay, let's talk about these square hoops.
I love them.
So they are vintage. They're like my second faves to my Daisy ones, like my second most worn pair. I just think they're quite unusual. And I did actually have a different pair of square hoops. They were like chubbier from the same sort of vintage saucer. And I absolutely gutted because one of them fell out. And she was like, I'm really sorry, I just don't think you're going to find a replacement. One of those. That's the only thing with buying vintages, isn't it? Like if you lose one, that's kind of it. But I was just like, is there any way you can source me another pair of square ones? Because there's definitely a time and a place for like a sort of slightly more angular hoop. It's a bit different, and I like the contrast between my little tiny huggy hoops and then the squareness of that one. And she did manage to find these, and I just kind of like the fact that this is like, in theory, a one-off that I get to keep and no one else will have.
I love that.
But I'm just really, really scared about losing one of them again. And like, I don't know, like, it just happens from time to time, doesn't it? It's usually when I've had a few drinks and one of them disappears. And I'm like, what do I do to my ears when I'm
like... Are you
like...
a dancer?
Yeah. I think that's it. I really like to throw some terrible shapes. I think I'm really... Do you have the same thing? Like, when you've had a few drinks, you think you're like an undiscovered talent in, like...
Yes.
A field, whether that's singing or, like... I feel like you're quite a good singer. I bet you are.
I did used to sing, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to hear you sing at some point. You're so rock and roll and cool,
right?
man.
Yeah.
You're like the cooler version of me. You're like, I did classical music. You're like, yeah, I used to sing in a band.
Okay, I love those square hoops. They're so nice.
Oh yeah, they are cool, aren't they? And they're like, again, very nice and light, so they're an easy one to chuck on. And then...
And your final piece.
My final piece, I think, was this. Was that?
Yes.
Yeah. So we've already like touched on this signet, haven't we?
You got overexcited. You wanted to know.
I know. Sorry, I thought we were diving straight in. But we were just saying, weren't we, that we like how sort of non-chunky it is, because I think a lot of the signets can be a bit like, I don't know, it's a statement piece, but I like that this one feels like it is a statement, but you can like layer that up and it's not too like overbearing.
Yeah.
And I think the flowers are quite unusual. What do you call that? That is it like embossing?
Yeah, that one's embossed.
Yeah.
So Polly's holding the Wild Daisy Florography signet ring.
Yeah.
So it's got 4 daisies on it, and it is just a really lovely, thin, lightweight signet. But the square, I mean, that's like 10 by 10 mil. It's like quite a nice, chunky size.
Yeah. I just bloody love a signet. Don't you?
Yeah.
It's like a real classique.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, as we sort of touched on before, this, I feel like it was one of the first pieces that I was given by you guys, and I think I'd just been like eyeing it up and like, oh, I really love it, and then to be given a very fortunate position to be in, I was just felt like that was like a bit of a pinch me moment, like, oh, I love it so much. So treasure this one.
Nice.
It's a gorgeous one. Can you still buy this?
Yeah, you can.
There you
go. It can be in your edit.
I'll put it in my edit.
Yeah.
The dream. Yeah. So I absolutely love that, and that is all my, I think, significance.
I'm chuffed that you're that 2 pieces of daisy made the cut. That's really nice.
Yeah, I just really love the pieces that you do.
Thanks.
Yeah, they're good. I'm wearing quite a lot actually today.
Okay, I think maybe we've already answered this, but what is your earliest jewellery memory?
Okay. Oh yeah, this was this is a significant piece, but I don't have it with me, and that's why I forgot to talk about
That's it.
So I think my earliest jewellery memory is when I was 16, my 16th birthday, my mum bought me one of those Links of London sweetie bracelets, which were just like so popular at the time.
I was pining for one.
Were you?
Yeah, I never got one.
And like, I remember feeling like such a grown-up lady now that I had this, like, because obviously like up until that point, you could probably only afford like Claire's accessories. No disrespect to Claire's accessories, but like you get your like kind of costume jewelry vibes, and like it's, you know, it turns your fingers green and things like that. And yeah, Mum was like, I'll buy you one of those bracelets for your birthday, and if you haven't seen them before, they've got loads of little silver like charms or links on them.
Circular kind of like links. Yeah.
And actually it was quite painful to wear because the links are so tightly packed that they like really pull on your arm hair. So I'd be like, Jesus Christ, this is so painful. Is this what like womanhood is? Just like wearing painful bracelets. And then you could buy little charms to go on them. And yeah, I got a few for then birthdays thereafter. And I don't know where it is. I wish I could find it. I asked my mum, like, where is this? I think it's probably in their house somewhere. Like tucked in a jewelry box somewhere in a cupboard, and I think they're planning on moving house, so when they have a clear out maybe they'll find it. But it, for me, that was like the start of a real like love affair with jewelry. I think.
Did you get some charms?
I did get some charms, and it just I think, as we said, that jewelry can make you feel so special, and that did kind of, it was almost like a marker of like, okay, womanhood, like we're laughing about, it hurting, whatever. But for me, that was like really special. And yeah, just felt cool to have something a little bit more expensive, a little bit, more special. But yeah, that's...
Funny you should say that about being a marker of womanhood, because we had India
on, and she had
period bracelet. Her period bracelet literally was a marker.
I was like, wow, like that's you know, but that actually, I love that idea of like, you know, putting that on its head and sort of saying like, okay, this could be quite a scary big thing, but you know, here you go, have a bracelet. So it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Links of London were clever there, because you had to go in store to have the charms added on, didn't you?
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, obviously, you could just buy a charm and do it yourself. But I remember it being like
a thing,
a bit of an ag.
Yeah.
Like, but it's clever because you have to go in store and they'll probably upsell you.
That's so true. Yeah.
The OGs, the OGs in
Hats off,
in charms. Any cringe jewellery moments or any cringe fashion moments? Let's stick with jewellery, actually.
Okay. I mean, plenty of
or
cringe,
fashion, like, just tell us.
Fashion moments. I feel like I've always been interested in fashion, but like, don't know that I always had great style. Do you know what I mean? So there's like one particular photo of me from uni, actually, where like I show this to people and they're like, that is not you. And like, bearing in mind, like, so I'm 29. This was like 10 years ago. So it's not like that far in the past.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing like a bodycon white dress.
Yes.
From ASOS probably. Yes. And my face just looks like I've just put myself face first into a trowel of makeup. I think I went to the Urban Decay makeup counter and just sort of said like, can you just do something with this? It was before like a ball, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I remember just thinking like, yes, I look great. And now looking back, I'm just like, what the fuck was I thinking? There we are. So, you know, it's good. I hope things have improved somewhat.
I love looking back at like my uni like outfits, because we were of that time where it was a lot of like, you know, like thick belts over the top, quite low, layers of, and like some long beads.
Oh god, I was gonna say next, the beads.
That was a
big
moment.
I remember doing like quite like neon beads.
Yeah, sweatbands, get those out.
Oh my god, okay, so sweatbands was such a big thing for me. I went through a real Avril Lavigne phase where like I really modelled myself on her directly. So I had like really straggly like blonde hair. Actually, it wasn't that blonde, it was like dirty blonde because that's my natural colour, but it was like quite greasy. My mum would just like beg me to wash my hair and I was like, no, Avril makes it like, the grease cool. But she also used to wear sweatbands a lot, didn't she? So I had one on each wrist.
Black and white check?
Yeah, black and white check. Oh my god, that's such a throwback, isn't it? And then those kind of like rubber bracelets that were black.
Kind of shag
insulate.
Bands, didn't they call them shag bands at school?
Bands, I used to love those and thought I was the coolest cat in my and
it's nice to feel like that.
Yeah, I guess it is. And like,
but it's funny to look back on.
Very funny to look back on. I just don't feel like young people now go through that like awkward phase of like not knowing who they are and like dressing really badly. I think
because we've got people like you to tell them what to wear.
I don't know if anyone under 25 is asking what I'm wearing. Sadly.
Well, they can find you.
They can find me if they'd like to. But yeah, I feel like they've got so much available to them now that they learn how to do their makeup, they learn how to dress, and I almost feel like it's a rite of passage to have quite shit style for a while. Yeah. And it's a shame. Maybe it's actually good for them they don't have that.
Maybe it is.
But, yeah.
It was a learning curve.
Yeah.
So do you have a go-to piece of jewellery? And I think I probably know this. I think it's the hoops. I was going to say a go-to piece of jewellery that just makes you feel like you.
100% it's the hoops. I do also love the necklaces. Like I've got the Pisces on the Figaro chain, and then also this is a Figaro chain as well. Oh yes, it is.
Yes.
With my little poly necklace.
I love that poly necklace.
Can it be seen? Yeah. Yes, it's there. And those are kind of like my three often like everydays. I just think the Figaro chain particularly is like fine but like interesting enough that it adds some interest. Sorry, that's like,
and it's kind of like
adds some interest. God, English.
It's quite masculine. It's kind of like adds a slightly masculine touch to your look.
Yeah, and I just kind of like that layered vibe. I think like top tip, like if you're layering necklaces, is to just go for a few different lengths, right? And people are like, oh, how do I do that? Like you don't have to, but it's kind of nice to like space them out and let people see what's going on out there. But those are like my go-tos pretty much every day. The hoops, and yeah, maybe 1 or 2 bracelets as well. Anna, she always rings. I just
so
don't know.
Polly has no go-to piece. It's just
I feel
too
like
many.
The go-to is
More
just
is more.
all of them.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone has that. You probably have the same thing where you just like your non-negotiables every day. You have those.
Yeah, I think. Well, and I've talked about this before. I'm definitely one of these people that goes, I'm going to change my ears, change my necklaces, but then I just like wear them for 3 months.
Yeah.
So I've been wearing these 2, and I've got 2 kind of chunky necklaces together, which
Yeah.
I quite like. There's sometimes you see that they're different, and other times it just looks like they're just one massive chunky one.
Yeah.
With like a more delicate one hanging down. And I love this necklace. This is actually based off of a bangle that Dan, my other half's nonna, gave me.
Oh, that's so nice.
And this section of it was a part of the bangle, like it was a bit of engraving.
That's gorgeous. I love that.
So when I showed her, she was like baffled that I'd made it. What? You've done what? I was like, no, I haven't used your bangle. I think she actually
just like created a new thing. That's
inspired
so cute,
by it. Yeah.
I feel like, so question for you, like I feel like I get this asked of me quite a lot. It's like, how do you stop your necklaces from getting tangled? And I'm like, the answer is just you don't.
Yeah, you can't. Well, for me, I mean, because obviously these 2 thick guys, they don't really get tangled very much. And because I'm wearing 2 thick with 1 thin, they don't get tangled very much.
Okay, that's a good tip though. So
but if they do, because of the thickness, I can literally go like that and they'll go...
And they're just, yeah.
But if I was wearing 3 fine chains like this, carnage.
Yeah, carnage. But I think that's just like fact of life, I'm afraid.
It is.
Maybe they're just running a lot and then they get like tangled. The answer is stop running. Like, don't exercise. Sit still. Have a rest. I've actually got this like fitness ring which tells me to like get up. Yeah, this is a fitness tracker. Again, this is why I love jewellery so much, is because
no, I did not know that was a thing.
I want the data, but I don't like the watches. No offense to people who have the watches. I'm like, I'd rather have a ring.
Mind blown. I was thinking about this the other day because I have a Fitbit.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's so ugly, a big thick black thing.
Yeah, I like.
That's amazing.
It's great. I like literally love it. I actually think India has it as well. It's called the Aura ring, and I wanted something that's just going to fit seamlessly with the rest of my jewellery.
Brilliant.
But also give me like the data that I want, which is kind of nerdy, but like it's interesting. It's more like a wellness tracker, I would say. So it like tells you a lot about your sleep.
It's linked to your phone.
Linked to my phone, and then basically it sounds like sleep is just the key to being generally well.
Yes.
Which is hard when you have children, I think. I'm like, how do you get around that?
Oh, it's just irritating. It's just
minor inconvenience.
Yeah. I've kind of just given up. Like, Zach comes into my room every night.
Yeah.
You know, start by, no, Zach, got to go back to your bed. And I'm just like, get in, hop in.
Just get in, I want some sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sort of kicks me a bit. It's fine. You get used to it.
Yeah, I did the same with the dog. We were like, the first thing someone said to me when we got the dog, it was like, they're like, don't let him sleep in your bed. And then somehow he did end up in the bed, and we've tried to train him, and then, we're just like, actually, I'd just rather sleep.
Yes.
Like, just let him in.
Pick your battles.
He's only small. Like,
exactly.
You pick your battles.
And I figure with Zach, he's not going to be in my bed forever. And then I'll look back and go, I miss you in my bed when he's like a teenager.
Exactly. Enjoy it while you can.
Exactly.
Sweet.
Okay. This is probably something you get asked all the time. Top styling tip.
Without sounding cliche, I do think the accessories are really important, and then that's where you add personality and interest. And I actually think, like the Coco Chanel thing where she's like, take one thing off.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Fucking
put something else on.
Really?
Yeah. I think for me, accessories just like are the finishers.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's a hat or a belt or a piece of jewellery. Those are the kind of things that set your look apart. So don't like neglect those bits. It's not about like the bigger pieces so much, I think. Like those are important obviously, but if you have like really good basics and then just add in those bits of accessories, that's what like really transforms things. So yeah, that's my top tip.
Great answer. Great for me.
Oh,
jewellery.
good.
So true though, isn't it?
I really believe that. Yeah, it's like the finisher.
What do you think, and it doesn't need to be jewellery,
mm-hmm.
one fail-safe item of clothing do you think that everybody should just have in their wardrobe?
Yeah, I think for me it's like an oversized blazer.
Yeah. Which I don't own.
Do you know what?
I think I need, well, obviously I do.
Well, I guess it's different for each person to a degree. It depends on your style, but I think, for me, it's like just a boxy black blazer. It's probably like my most worn item in my wardrobe. I've got one from Totem, which, obviously is not cheap, but I wear it a lot. But however, you can get really good ones from like Arket and other stories. And I just think it's a really good thing to have for the weekends with a pair of jeans, with a pair of trainers. Like that's just simple but looks really great. But then you'll chuck it over a dress for the evening or for work. I just think if you are going to invest in one piece of clothing that you want to feel really special in, then a blazer is probably a good place to start.
Right, watch the space.
Yeah. Vintage is also a good way to get one. Like for less, go to the menswear section and get some movement box.
Okay, that's going to be my next purchase. Finally, and again, I think I know the answer. What would be the first piece of jewellery you would design?
Oh,
like what's missing from your jewellery box that you feel like you need to design?
That's so hard. I don't know whether like I'm like missing anything because like all the pieces I have I love, but I feel like my automatic reaction is a hoop.
I feel like a square hoop.
Yeah, maybe it is a square hoop.
Yeah,
like a chubby square hoop. Maybe that would be it.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd love to do that one day. Maybe I'll add that to my like manifestation board.
Start manifesting it. And what have you got coming up this year?
What have I got coming up? I'm going skiing, which is exciting for my 30th. Yeah, it's my 30th birthday. That's probably like quite a big thing that's coming up. Feels quite grown up to be in your 30s, but like I'm ready for it. Like I don't know, it feels right, and I feel quite content with where my life is at the moment. Like I was talking to my friend about it last night. Like, what are your like goals for this year? And actually, I don't know. I feel like my goals are like less professional, more personal. Because actually, I think it's important to just, you know, if you're content with where you are in certain aspects, just be like, great, like I'm good with that, and I'll focus on other areas. So for me, like what I've got coming up is like, I want to exercise more. I want to continue learning French, travel more. Just say yes to like traveling a lot. I think that's maybe one part of my life where I feel like I could do more, get more experiences, is just going to lots of different places. So that's what I hope to do more of this year. I am going on holiday a few times, but I'd like to do a big trip to like Canada. I think that's like what next on my list.
Nice. Before we finish, what is the discount code going to be on your favourite Daisy pieces, the shoppable edit?
Okay, maybe it should be Hoops for Life.
Nice.
For LYF.
LYF. I love it. It was going to be Polly Was Ear, and now it's Hoops for Life. And there we have it. Hoops for Life will get you 20% off Polly's shoppable edit.
Not just hoops.
Yeah, but there'll be a lot of hoops in there, I can imagine.
Yes, probably.
Okay, we're gonna do some quick fire questions, which, as a fan of Homegrown Daisy, you already know.
I know. So, I do.
Okay, silver or gold?
Gold.
Of course. Huggies or hoops?
Oh, like hoops, but like I also love the huggies like in my ears. So can I say both?
I suppose because you've got so many piercings.
Yeah,
it's the obvious hoop. Couple of huggies. Studs.
Yeah, those.
Okay, nice. Chunky or delicate?
Chunky, I think, is where my heart lies. Yeah,
where my heart lies.
Is that too deep?
Clothes or jewellery?
I think it's jewellery.
Yeah. One piece you would save in a fire?
I think it would just have to be my engagement ring.
Yeah.
Like, that's for me, like so sentimental. And then it would be the hoops.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, the vintage hoops.
No, these hoops.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course.
I'd go for the vintage ones because we can send you another pair of those if they're really in a fire.
Well, I didn't want to assume.
I'll never leave the house without.
Never leave the house without a pair of hoops in. Genuinely. Yeah. I wear like even smaller ones to the gym. Like, I just feel a bit naked without them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Polly, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so fun. Thank you.
It's always nice to see you.
And you, of course. Always a pleasure.
Nice.
Never a chore.
Good ending. Thank you.
Thank you.